Afghanistan languishing down in 5th, desperate for a victory. And they've done the hard work to the extent that they've restricted Scotland to that 199 for 8. Can they finish off the job? So it's going to be Ian Wardlaw who's going to open the bowling for Scotland from the Sharjah club end, making his one-day international debut for the Scots. Bowling to Mohammed Shahzad, with Nawraz Mangle, the former captain, his opening partner. Mohammed Shahzad, wonderful player he's been for Afghanistan and continues to be so. And that's why a little bit of width, cracks it away off the back foot for 4. Diminutive player that hits the ball like an absolute shell. A little bit of width, carved away with a great deal of power. Just backward of square on the offside, inside the power play overs. So only a couple of fielders allowed outside the 30-yard circle. One slip in position. Just cramps up Shahzad a little bit for room on that occasion. Fielded at cover by Callum MacLeod. And that brings Nawraz Mangle on strike. Mohammed Shahzad, the leading run scorer for Afghanistan in one-day international history. Now up to 748 runs. Nawraz Mangle, his former captain at the other end. Straight away, Wardlaw starts with a bouncer. Wardlaw, born in Yorkshire. Qualifies here by virtue of Scottish parentage. As Tim Anderson, the ICC Global Development Manager, was explaining a little earlier, the criteria's changed and Mangle gets off the mark. Carves that one down to Monib Iqbal at third man. Qualifying for Scotland through his Scottish father, 27 years of age, played in the 2020 Champions League in South Africa in October last year. Short and pulled away. It's another boundary for Shahzad. He's not mucking about. And already they're into double figures, Afghanistan, chasing 200 for victory. Wardlaw dropping short. And there's nothing for short at that pace on this surface. No real pace in the surface. And Mohammed Shahzad needing no second invitation to clobber that one away over square leg. So a really good start for Afghanistan. They're chasing that 200 for victory. After Scotland made 199 for 8, they were put into bat. It's a curious sort of innings in that they got a flying start through Kyle Kurtzer. He made 23 from 21 balls. Then he and Callum MacLeod departed quickly. They were 34 for 2. Then Matt Machin and Richie Berrington put on 99. They were 133 for 2 at one stage. Then they slipped to 149 for 7. And then there was a late rally. Gordon Drummond, the captain, 21. Second over for Scotland. Safian Sharif into the attack. (21 years of age). We saw him end the Scotland innings with a flourish, with a very nice cover-driven 4, finished 9 not out. He's in the side for his bowling. He's got a slip and a short mid-wicket in position. Well, that's a heartbreaker for a fast bowler. That ball virtually crawled along the deck. And David Murphy behind the stumps, he wouldn't have enjoyed that too much either. Funnily enough, with a new ball in the 2020 International a couple of evenings ago, Sharif got the ball through very nicely, ball with good pace. It's the same pitch though these players are playing on today as was played on in the 2020 Internationals a couple of days ago. Afghanistan winning both of those matches. Short again, and Shahzad pulls it away, 1 bounce 4. Well, the one thing you're guaranteed when this man's at the crease is entertainment. Wonderful strike, but again, nothing for short on this surface. Banged in and clobbered into the open spaces beyond the infield. Just those 2 fielders still allowed outside the 30-yard circle at this stage. Plenty of wide open spaces, and Mohammad Shahzad taking full advantage of them. There is the field at the moment. Slip and a short mid-wicket in position, just a 3rd man. And fielder out on the leg side, who's been moved a lot squarer now. Originally we had a long leg, Scotland, but they've now moved that fielder out to deep square leg. Mohammad Shahzad though, 300s. Gordon Drummond fields, and the batsman able to trot back for a second. But he's making his intentions absolutely clear, Mohammad Shahzad. Going over mid-off. 2 more runs. His strike rate in one-day internationals before this innings, 90 runs per 100 balls, and he's giving us an illustration of why that is. Scotland will know all about him. He scored 2 of those 300s against them. Short again, and he's pulled that one over wide mid-wicket for 4 more. This isn't intelligent bowling. It's the end of another expensive over, and Afghanistan are off to a flyer. 21 without loss in 2 overs. And again short. Safian Sharif, if he doesn't know already, he knows now. You can't afford to bowl that length on this surface, particularly to Mohammad Shahzad. Shahzad already has flown to 19. Mangle has been a very pleased spectator at the other end. He's got a single, and Afghanistan chasing that 200, already 20 without loss, 21 without loss rather. So, confidence required by Scotland after this disastrous start, with just 200 to defend. Afghanistan off to a flyer with some short bowling, some wide bowling in the case of Wardlaw, and they need to get their act together here and get it together quickly. What a beautiful shot that is by Nawraz Mangle. He's been a spectator for the first couple of overs. Well, I'll tell you what, he's learned his lessons. Fuller length from Wardlaw, and Nawraz Mangle now freed of the responsibility of captaincy and enjoying himself. What an absolutely classic straight drive. He didn't bother to run, it kept the fielder interested, and in the end it only just got to the boundary, but only just is good enough. So Mangle joining in with the fun, and that brings slip out. Majid Haq now moving to short extra cover position, so the 2 fielders now in catching position, short extra cover and short mid-wicket. And Scotland are rattled here. It's exactly what Craig Wright, the former Scotland captain, was suggesting beforehand when he was in our commentary position. He was saying that Afghanistan would go hard, and that's exactly what they're doing. Slower ball from Wardlaw, pushed up towards mid-on. Batsman coming through for a comfortable single. He's coming back to Mohammad Shahzad, who's now on strike. 300s in one-day international cricket, 118 against Canada. That was on this ground in February 2010. Then 110 against the Netherlands in Amstelveen, and 100 not out against Scotland in air. That other 100 against Scotland, incidentally, was Karim Sadiq. That was also in air. 114 not out. And the leg side, Shahzad's frustrated to have missed out on that. Signalled a wide though by the umpire at that far end, Sarika Prasad from Singapore. Incidentally, the other 100 that's been made by Afghanistan in one-day internationals, two other 100s in fact, one by Karim Sadiq against the Netherlands here in Sharjah. That was in March of last year, and another by Noor Ali Zadran against Canada, also here in Sharjah, February 2010. Again down the leg side, again Shahzad's frustrated to have missed out, and again it's signalled as a wide by umpire Prasad. And I think we go from bad to worse here for Scotland. It's a sloppy start. They needed to come out all guns blazing, perhaps take a few wickets, put the Afghanis under some pressure, because 200 to defend isn't an enormous score. It's more like it. I'm delighted to say that we've been joined in the commentary position now by Paul Radley, the cricket writer for the national newspaper here in the UAE. Good afternoon to you, Paul. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for inviting me down.
It's a pleasure. Paul sees an awful lot of cricket here in the UAE, particularly here in Sharjah. It's unlucky, didn't time it, Shahzad, put it off somewhere near the inside half of the bat, the stumps at the bowler's end. But Paul, 199 for 8 Scotland, as I say, you've seen a lot of cricket on this ground. Was that a par score or below par?
Probably below par in today's conditions, but having said that, last year Afghanistan played, obviously this is technically their home ground, where they play their home matches. They played 2 games against the UAE here last year, and they failed to chase.
An appeal for a catch, it's out! He strangled Shahzad. Wardlaw strikes, caught low down the leg side by David Murphy. A first dismissal for him in international cricket, a first one-day international wicket for Wardlaw. And Shahzad, having hit the cover off the ball, he'd missed a couple of leg glances earlier in the over, got a touch to that one, and how frustrated is he? Absolutely devastated to be dismissed. Finger went up from by Prasad straight away, and Mohammad Shahzad out for 19, so Scotland get that early breakthrough, and Afghanistan are 28 for 1. So Paul Radley of the national newspaper with me here in the commentary position. Wow, that really was needed, and what a strangle.
It was an absolute strangle, you're right. Mohammad Shahzad had looked very frustrated twice already in this.
Stanik Zai, it's his 3rd time batting at number 3 in the order for Afghanistan. Generally he's batted down the order as a rule of thumb. Batted 12 times at number 5, 5 times at number 6, once even at number 7, once also at number 4. So he's been up and down the order a little bit, but this is the position they want to try and develop it at now. He's on strike to Ian Wardlaw. Pushes the ball to short mid-wicket, so the end of a successful over for Wardlaw. That's not the tidiest over he'll ever bowl in his career, but look in the scorebook, he's got rid of the dangerous Mohammad Shahzad. What a wicket that is as far as Scotland is concerned. 200 is the target for Afghanistan, and the wicket has gone with Mohammad Shahzad out for 19 from just 11 balls, 4 fours, and after 3 overs, 28 for 1. Paul Radley of the national newspaper with me here in the commentary position. It's Mangle, who's on strike, the former captain, and he's going to be facing Sharif from the pavilion end. And Paul, you were saying a little bit earlier about the surface, and you mentioned the fact that the UAE won their games against Afghanistan, defending 198 and 221.
Yeah, very similar scores to what Afghanistan are chasing today. From this distance, it looks as though the pitch is a little bit flatter today than it was on those occasions when, in actual fact, the UAE, with a great deal of knowledge of the Afghan team, A, because they play against them a fair bit, and B, because the coach then of the UAE was Kabir Khan, who spent the past few years flitting between the two countries, coaching both of them. He had good knowledge of the Afghan batting lineup and asked for some turners to be prepared. And I'm not sure, from the looks of what's happened so far in this match, I'm not sure this is a raging turner.
Yes, it doesn't seem to be turning square. We saw a little bit of turn, in truth, actually, for Ramad Shah, the young leg spinner who operated from this pavilion end. He turned a couple of deliveries. That's punched through the onside by Nawaz Mangle, but he'll just get a single because long leg, as we mentioned a bit earlier, has been moved a little bit squarer now. It's Callum MacLeod coming in off the boundary to field, so just a single to Mangle. Yeah, but on the other side of the coin, Paul, of course, Afghanistan managed to chase 256 against the Netherlands here, so it's a difficult one to judge, isn't it, whether this is a good score or not?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if it's a usual charge wicket, this should definitely be within their compass. A chase of 200, and obviously there was a famous occasion where they chased on a fourth day of a match against Canada. I'm pretty sure it was Canada. They chased a massive ball innings total. Mohammad Shahzad, though, scored a double that day. He's already gone, so that might put a different slant on it.
Yes, a fantastic occasion. They're chasing over 400 against Canada here, and Stanik's eye off the mark with a cover drive. Didn't quite time that, but he'll still pick up 2. So a total 31 for 1 in the 4th over. Yeah, it cuts both ways, as you say. This is the same pitch that was used for the 2020 internationals that were played here on Sunday and Monday. So certainly I was looking to see whether the surface was going to be a little bit tired. I haven't seen too many indications of that thus far. Whipped away through square leg by Stanik's side. Single to him. Although in the first over from Sharif from this end, one ball just basically rolled along the ground outside the off stump. So clearly there's not an awful lot for bowling short on this surface. Just back of a length and gun barrel straight, you would think, is probably the way to go.
Yeah, there's not a great deal of pace in the wicket, which sort of plays against Scotland's sort of strengths, really, because they were comfortably beaten in both 2020 matches, but they had a small bit of optimism that they could have taken from the fact that the Afghan middle order struggled against the short ball. It's going to be a real effort for the Scottish bowlers to get it that high today to trouble them if they do get into that late middle order.
It's a very fair point, and something I mentioned earlier was that we saw Sharif in that 2020 international get the ball through and get it through quite quickly. But I don't think there's any danger of him doing that on this surface today.
No, late in the evening, where there's a bit more dew and a bit more sort of juice in the wicket, it was probably a little bit easier for him. But today, he'll probably be pretty tired by that point anyway in this heat.
Wardlaw to start the 5th over. Bowls to Stanik's eye. He's come in at the fall of the 1 wicket to have gone down so far. That of Mohammad Shahzad. Caught down the leg side by David Murphy off the bowling of Wardlaw for 19 from just 11 balls. Remember, Afghanistan are chasing 200 for victory, and Scotland made 199 for 8 in this Pepsi ICC World Cricket League Championship match here at the Sharjah Cricket Stadium. Short, and Stanik's eye going for the pull, gets it somewhere near the splice, gets it backward square leg and picks up a single. Remember, we saw Stanik's eye in his previous one-day international. It was actually on this ground against Australia back in August. He made a half-century. 66 he scored on that occasion. That's his highest score in one-day internationals. He's got 350s in total. And he's in now with Nawaz Mangle, who's on strike. Another short ball, and this bears out what you were saying, Paul. The Scotland fast bowlers keen to test out the middle of the pitch and test out whether the Afghanistan batsmen fancy it up them, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. Gordon Drummond, I was speaking to him, the captain, after the game the other night, and you could tell it actually, it really had figured in his thinking as a result of what had gone on in that 2020 match, that this was an area that they could get some success with, so I think it's certainly worth trying it.
It's interesting though, isn't it, Paul? I guess with their selection, the Scots have gone a bob each way, if you like, because they've got these two opening bowlers, but they left Gordon Gowdy out of the side, and of course they've got Richie Berrington, who perhaps isn't quite as quick as either of these two bowlers. They've got a couple of spinning options as well, though, with Majid Haq and Monib Iqbal's leg spin as well. So Gordon Drummond as well, of course, can bowl his little medium paces too. That's short. Mangle trying to work the ball away on the onside. It's the thigh pad. So they've got all bases covered, it would appear.
Yeah, I heard you pondering in the first innings about whether there would be a bit of merit in trying one of the spinners very early, perhaps.
He's on 8. Stanisky on 4. And the one man out, Mohamed Shahzad for 19. 34 for 1 in 5 overs. We're in the power play. There's confirmation of the score. 200 is the target. Here's Sharif. The other thing to bear in mind, I guess, Paul, is the option with the seamers as well, particularly on such a dry surface as this, is that the ball sometimes will reverse swing. So you want to have a few overs up your sleeve with those seamers late on, don't you?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much experience necessarily Scottish cricketers would have had on that. You'd have thought they'd be playing on slightly lusher grounds than Sharjah Cricket Stadium. So whether it's something that they've really mastered, bowling reverse swing, I'm not necessarily sure, but it could aid them. The fact that obviously Shahzad at the top of the order has had a go and got a lot of response from having a dart when the ball has been hard and new. It can often help the seamers later in the innings, even if they're not reverse swinging it. When the ball's gone soft, it can be more difficult to score on.
Plays and misses, looking for the big drive. The Stanisky. Paul, of course, you're a cricket writer for the National here in the UAE. You see an awful lot of cricket, as I mentioned earlier, and an awful lot of cricket here, and the UAE have been a very prominent part of this Pepsi ICC World Cricket League Championship. They're still very much in contention for a place in the top 2 that would give them automatic qualification to the 2015 World Cup. From your perspective, the UAE at the moment just standing in 4th place, just 1 place ahead of Afghanistan and 3 points ahead. Have they overachieved to get to that stage?
When this competition started, you definitely think, look, if you were given the table at this stage now, you definitely think that they had, but UAE cricket should have been at this level for donkey's years, and the fact that it's only in the last 18 months, 2 years, that they have had a revival and reached this this sort of level where they are competing, they're genuinely competing with these teams. It shouldn't have taken so long for them to be like this. They've got fantastic cricketers in this country, really high standard, and they've got a genuine chance of getting in those top 2 places if they can pinch a game, at least, off Ireland next week or the week after, in home conditions. They've got a genuine chance of sneaking into that top 2, which is something, if you went back 3-4 years, would be way out of their reach.
Driven through the covers by Mangle. He's found the gap between cover and mid-off. Gordon Drummond giving chase, flicks the ball back, does well. That's well done. The batsman picking up just a couple there. Wasn't quite timed by Mangle. But still, he found the gap, and that was the important thing. And the end of that over. 38 for 1. Good work there by Drummond. Flicking the ball back, getting the throw in to striker's end. So, Stanisky on on 5, Nawaz Mangle on 11. The man out, Mohammed Shahzad for 19. 38 for 1. 6 overs gone, they're chasing 200 for victory. Pulled off somewhere near the splice of the bat. It's ballooned up in the air. Fine leg was in the circle. That's Sharif, and the batsman able to come back for a couple. And again, the Scotland bowlers testing out the middle of the pitch. Standing side, just rehearsing the pull shot. So he's expecting a few more short ones by the look of it. Still Scotland persisting with fine leg up inside the circle and deep backward square leg as their boundary rider on the onside. Of course, Paul, coming back to the UAE, we all remember them taking part in the World Cup in 1996. Sultan Zarawani, the captain, very much out of their depth. If, and it's a big if, they got the opportunity to compete at the top table, would they be better prepared this time?
Yeah, well, yes, they've got far greater depth now of players who have played at the international level. Whether they could necessarily compete in a 50-over match with, with Test Nations, I mean, that's a real stretch for them. Would it be more realistic to say 2020 is a better option for them?
Definitely. Where are they in terms of 2020? Because obviously we haven't seen them in an ICC World 2020 thus far. Are they in contention for a place?
They came very close first time. They've had two World Cup qualifiers over here, World 2020 I should say qualifiers. The first time they were just basically in a one-match winner-takes-all playoff with Afghanistan.
Short, pulled away, it's a top edge, there's a man out there. And the catch is taken, easy as you like. So the short ball pays off. Staniskai with the top edge and a very comfortable catch. Matt Machin, I think, out there on the boundary. And so a second wicket goes down. Never over the top of that pull shot. And it was like fielding practice out there. So fully justified with having that man out at deep square leg. Staniskai goes, and Afghanistan lose their second wicket. They're 40 for 2, and Asghar Staniskai out for 7. That after Mohammed Shahzad departed for 19. So in the 7th over, it's been all action so far. Plenty of boundaries, a couple of wickets, and exactly what Scotland would have wanted. A couple of wickets and a couple of good quality top order wickets to put Afghanistan just under pressure and sow a few doubts in their mind. Now coming to the crease, the debutant Rahmat Shah. So the expectation was that perhaps Samiullah Shinwari would come in, but scoreboard yet to tick over with that second wicket. Asghar Staniskai, the man, dismissed, so we'll lose his name, and there indeed he goes, and Rahmat Shah appears on the board. Nawaz Mangle, former captain, he's been out there throughout the innings so far on 11. So Scotland perhaps slightly unconventionally getting a couple of breakthroughs. Batsman crossed while that ball was in the air. So it's going to be Nawaz who's on strike now to Wardlaw. 2 wickets to him then. Short of a length again, and Nawaz Mangle goes back, works it off his hip. Out to deep backward square leg. Picks up a single. So Rahmat now getting the opportunity to take strike. Sure, it'll be a nervy time for him, making his debut at the top table and in a real pressure situation too, given Afghanistan's need to win this match. which is 3 one-day matches for Afghanistan so far. This is his first one-day international, and he confidently comes forward to his first delivery. The end of the over. So 7 overs gone now, and Afghanistan chasing 200 for victory are 41 for 2. 2 wickets to have gone down thus far. Mohammad Shahzad falling for 19, and then in that over, Asghar Staniskai falling for 7. 199 for 8 was the total that Scotland made. Their top score, Richie Berrington with 51, and there were 4 wickets for Gulbuddin Naib. Paul Radley of the National newspaper is still with us here in the commentary position. As Nawraz Mangle prepares to take strike to the first ball of a new over from Sharif. Paul, you were telling us about the UAE and their prospects in short form cricket. 2020, realistic option for them?
Definitely. It's probably, well, it's definitely the sort of cricket that they play most of in this country. As a result, it's probably the format that best suits the players as well in terms of the attacking game they've got. And they've got just an absolute wealth of very, very clever spin bowlers, which is always pretty handy in that format.
Short of a length on the batsman's hip, and Mangle with fine leg up in the circle makes no mistake. That really was a gimme ball from Sharif, and Mangle taking full advantage. He moves to 16, it's 45 for 2. And Sharif's disappointed a little bit in this opening spell, it has to be said. Initially he's been a little bit short, and with that delivery, cardinal sin really to be bowling that line and that length with his fielder behind square on the onside inside the circle. Beats the outside edge there though, an expansive drive attempted by Mangle. Paul, if you were a betting man, I know you're not of course, because we're not allowed to in this part of the world, yeah, but if you were, where would your money be now? 2 early wickets down, but they're going along at a good rate of knots.
They are, and they've got some experienced players in the middle order, so still I'd say Afghanistan ahead. But the game may change when the slow bowlers come on.
Don't know how many problems Sharif is having at this pavilion end, because I'm noticing as he's running into bowl, just before he reaches delivery stride, the bowler's footmarks there are very, very powdery. I don't know how much of a problem that is for him.
Yeah, every time he runs in, a load of dust comes up just as he's approaching the umpire, but he hasn't necessarily looked down, and his body language hasn't suggested it's been a problem.
On his way again now, his 4th over, bowls, takes the pace off that one, and it's worked into the onside to deep square leg by Nawraz Mangle. Callum MacLeod fields, gets a good return into David Murphy behind the stumps, and another single to Mangle. He's on to 17, 46 for 2. And Paul, I noticed you wrote a piece this morning in the paper about the transition that Afghanistan are having to make, having decided to dispense with Mangle's services as captain and opting to go with Mohammed Nabi as the man in charge. But you've detected that Mangle's hand is perhaps still, if not on the tiller, then perhaps power behind the scenes still.
Yeah, he's definitely lending a hand, as Nabi put it the other night. He's very happy to have him, there so that he can lean on the players. It's unbelievable the respect Mangle has from these players. So to still have him in the lineup could be seen as being slightly undermining Nabi's position as he's trying to forge his own sort of way as a leader. But I definitely think that the negatives of that are outweighed by the fact that these players aren't going to mess about while Nawraz is still in the team.
So that certainly appears to be the case. Nawraz Mangle in his 23rd one-day international. Just goes back and steers that one to backward point. He's only missed one-day international in the whole of Afghanistan's time at this level. And remember, they're still an affiliate nation. They're not even a second-tier associate side, and he's led them very well indeed. Batting average of just a shade under 26 at the start of this innings. Doesn't flatter him at all, just 2 half-centuries. Looks to pull, doesn't get the right sort of contact. But just talking to a couple of people within the Afghanistan camp, I think the feeling is that now he's been freed of the responsibility of leadership. They've pushed him back up to the top of the order. Perhaps the shackles will be off a little bit with him. Yeah,
as you said, his statistics are quite underwhelming for a player who has been the first name on the team sheet for years. And if he, perhaps we'll now see the best of him because he's had that burden taken off his shoulders. And let's be honest, captaining Afghanistan with all the troubles that faced them must have been a tricky proposition over the past few years.
You never actually play a home game.
Exactly.
That's the first problem, isn't it?
You're always away from home, even when you're nominally playing at home like they are today.
Yes, it's a test, there's no question about that. But, as you say, he's really piloted them through some remarkable achievements. It's hard to believe that only a few years ago they were playing against Jersey and Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
There's another short ball from Wardlaw down the leg side, concedes a wide.
Yeah, I was my article today comparing him to Brearley and Steve Waugh and people like that, but not necessarily obviously from an achievements perspective, but from point A where he started with this team to point B where they are today. I don't think any international cricket captain would ever have come as far as that.
Another short ball, and it signals a wide by the umpire at that far end, Sarika Prasad from Singapore. In between the wicket-taking deliveries, Scotland have been a little bit ragged here in this opening, haven't they, Paula? There's no getting away from that fact.
Yeah, and even, well, certainly the first wicket was a strangle. It was a pretty poor delivery. The second one, obviously, they were working to a plan, but other than that, they've let the bowler get away a bit, really.
Only defending 199 for 8. They can't really afford to do that as Wardlaw bowls again. And that's very nice. And it takes Rahmat Shah off the mark in one-day international cricket. It was nearly his first and only run, as he thought about coming back for a second and was sent back quite rightly by Mangle. But it was a nicely timed shot, that, through point, just a push. And that will do his confidence the power of good. Rahmat Shah, batting all-rounder. We saw him bowl 3 overs of leg spin a little bit earlier today. Mangle looking pretty comfortable at the crease at the moment. And he will know, of course. He'll know these conditions well, as you say, Paul, because this is their adopted home ground, and he'll know that if he's batting after 50 overs, they'll win the game. They're only chasing 4 and over at the start of the innings.
Yeah, absolutely. It's clearly his role. Is to be that anchor role through the innings. I was talking to Kabir Khan, the coach, about it the other day, and he was saying how few of that type of player there are in their team. Obviously, they've had great success in recent years, built on just great ball striking talent, but they've never really honed players or had players who can just sort of stick around for the whole 50.
I know one of the problems that Richard Doan, the ICC high performance manager, has identified in the past is the ability of associate and affiliate players to work the ball around for 1s and 2s and keep the scoreboard ticking over. There's almost a sort of block or bash mentality, if you like, at this level. 50 for 2, incidentally, is the score. 9 overs gone. Naras Mangle, 18. Rahmat Shah on debut, on a single. And the 2 men out so far, Mohammad Shahzad for 19 and Asghar Staniskai, he made 7. Short ball, and does well there. Does Sharif to actually get the ball above stump high, just inconvenience the batsman, Rahmat Shah, just a little bit. But just coming back to that point I was making, Paul, that block or bash mentality at this level It's so important for players to be able to work the better bowlers around, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think that was actually Scotland's undoing in their innings. They had a good stand where Richie Berrington got an excellent 50, just playing like that, working out where the gaps were, just chipping it into those gaps. When they had gone, those two players who had that 99-run partnership, you could see that everybody else found it very tricky to play anything other than a bit of a slog, really, and it was their undoing.
Matt Machin was the other man in that partnership, made 44. You've seen him a couple of times now, and I think you're quite impressed with him, aren't you?
He's looked good. I mean, it might be over-egging the pudding a little bit, but he's got glimpses of Owen Morgan about him. I don't know whether it's just because he's got the same bat manufacturer and pasty arms like Owen Morgan, but left-hander who can clear the boundary when he fancies. He looks like a good prospect. I think he's only 21, 22.
Yeah, you saw him in that 2020 International on Monday, and I know you were impressed with the way he did clear the boundary on a couple of occasions. As you say, it's a mean ball, and his county experience, of course, comes to the fore with his ability to manipulate the bowling. And of course, this is a step up in class, you might say, the likes of Dowlett Zadran.
Yeah, definitely. Afghanistan have got a very, very well balanced bowling attack with some excellent bowlers who know these conditions well, which makes a big difference if they want to strangle the scoring rate.
We mentioned Matt Machin there. Of course, he's now eligible for Scotland, as is wicketkeeper David Murphy there. You can see at the top of the screen, because of the clarification of the eligibility criteria, as Tim Anderson, the ICC Global Development Manager, told us on commentary this morning. After this next delivery, I'll get your thoughts, Paul, on that clarification. Slower ball, driven to short extra cover. What's your view on opening the door to players like Murphy, like Machin,
and like Neil Carter, who's not actually in this squad, but he's still in the 4-day squad, a 38-year-old South African-born player who's just retired from county cricket? I'd have thought, and from all reports, apparently it has happened this way. If you're a aspiring Scotland player, 21, 22, played all your cricket in Scotland, and you see a 38-year-old who's just retired from county cricket, who's from South Africa anyway, and who's got a Scottish mother, picked in front of you, I thought that'd be a little bit soul-destroying.
Yes, we had Craig Wright on a little bit earlier, the former Scotland captain. It's 50 for 2, incidentally, at the end of that over. Nara's Mangle on 18. Ramat Shah, he's on a single. Join in the conversation, by the way. There's the Twitter hashtag CWC15. Let us know what you think about that clarification of the eligibility criteria, or indeed anything about our broadcast or the Pepsi ICC World Cricket League Championship. Give us your thoughts, and if you do so, there's a chance we'll give you some feedback here on air. And coming back to that point, as we've got our first change of bowling at the far end, and it's going to be Majid Haq, the off-spinner, who's going to come on from the Sharjah club. And coming back to that point, Craig Wright was making the point that on the other side of the coin, it ensures that they're ultra competitive, or more competitive than they would otherwise be.
Yeah, the counterpoint definitely is that Scotland are compelled to pick their strongest team that they think will earn them a place in the World Cup. I think, were they second in the table currently?
Yes.
There's no point leaving high quality players that could make a difference on the sidelines. You know, if they're eligible, then that's the rules. Get them in.
Yes, absolutely, and that's the attitude that's been adopted. Majid Haq, he's going to have a twist now from that far end. Got out first ball when he batted today. LBW playing around a straight one. That was certainly the impression we had here in the commentary position. What can he do with the ball? Straight away, Nara sweeps him and sweeps him fine. Good knowledge of where the field was. Straight away working a couple of comfortable runs and posing a question for the bowler. It's clever cricket, that, Paul, isn't it?
It was clever cricket, Brian. There's a big gap there down where it's just if you can just manipulate the ball down there, 2 runs, nice and easy, no danger in that at all.
Well, the first couple of deliveries we've seen from Majid Haq, I think they've come down with snow on. He really is taking the pace off the ball and bowling very, very slowly.
Yeah, so the batsmen obviously have to put all the work in to score off it themselves, which is obviously it's pretty easy stuff though at the moment.
That one was just pushed through a little bit quicker, and Mangle again guiding the ball to fine leg. Machin's the fielder, but a couple more runs, and this really will require a change, I think. And in fact, Majid Haq is asking for that change. And he's moving the man who was at square leg, Sharif, a little bit finer. And Machin, who was at long leg, is now moving to deep backward square leg. So that opens up an area at square leg. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Naraz Mangle sit on the back foot here and work it off his hip if he can. That's what he'll look to do, to that vacant area. Also a gap down through mid-on. Comfortable single for Mangle. Takes him up to 23, and he's looking in very good order indeed. Naraz Mangle here looks completely unhurried, unfussed, and he's just working the ball around very comfortably.
Yeah, he's doing exactly what he's in the team to do, really. Playing the anchor roll, but not letting the scoring rate get away. Not that if you're chasing 200, you don't really need to worry about it. There's just very little pressure on them at the moment.
Interestingly enough, with Majid Haq, his first 16 one-day internationals were all overseas. In fact, 18 of his first 19 were overseas since then. For today, his next 13 were all in Scotland. It's the end of his first over. 55 for 2 is the score. 11 overs gone. Naraz Mangle on 23. Remat Shah on debut on a single. 2 wickets to have gone down so far, just in case you're joining us for the first time. Hello and welcome. Mohammed Shahzad out for 19 and Asghar Staniskai for 7. 199 for 8 was Scotland's total. Top score for them, Richie Berrington out for 51. So it's a double change for Scotland. Majid Haq having come on from the Sharjah club end. It's going to be Gordon Drummond, the Scotland captain. He's going to come into the attack now from the pavilion end. Coming on to replace Sharif. 5 overs, 1 maiden, none for 23. It was a little bit disappointing, if truth be told. Ian Wardlaw, 5 overs, 2 for 26. Here's Drummond. If I had to pick a bowler that I thought would be pretty useful on this sort of slow surface, Gordon Drummond would be near the top of my list, I think.
Yeah, if he gets his field right, he should be able to rack up those dot balls that they need to start building some pressure. Obviously, Afghanistan aren't really under any scoreboard pressure at all at the moment.
Some sort of issue here with the umpire Paliguri again. Extended conversation there with Gordon Drummond. Not sure what that was about. All ready to go again now. Of course, you talk about getting the field right, Paul. The regulations in the power play, the second power play of 5 overs have changed, and you now have to have a 5th fielder inside the circle. Previously, of course, you were allowed to have only 4. What are your feelings on that change in regulation, which opens up an extra boundary option for the batsman when power plays are on, those 5 overs of power play later on in the innings?
It does. I think it can also help the bowling team, because then they're obviously obliged to have a slightly tighter field in terms of having another player up. In which case, I always think it's a bit of a waste of time having loads of people out unless you really need them on the boundary, because then you're giving away ones and twos very easily, rather than making a batsman force a boundary scoring shot where you can get a wicket there.
Well, we saw that situation in perfect effect in the Scotland innings, didn't we? The 133 for 2, they took the batting bower play, and wickets fell at regular intervals.
Yeah, I certainly think these Sharjah wickets are made for bowlers and captains and fielding teams who can get in close and perhaps bowl defensively but field offensively. I think, like you pointed out before, Gordon Drummond, the captain of the team, should be a good exponent of that.
It's his 15th one-day international as captain. Very tidy stuff from him to start with. Fielders outside the circle, he's just sending mid-on back actually for the back end of this over. He's now got a long on, deep square leg, a long leg and a third man. 5 fielders inside the circle at short mid-wicket, mid-off, short extra cover and backward point. And one of those gaps is down towards mid-on. Single to Rahmat Shah to end the over. And a tidy first over it was too from Gordon Drummond. 56 for 2 then, the Afghanistan score. They're chasing 200 for victory. Naraz Mangle on 24, Rahmat Shah on 2. And conditions are a little bit more pleasant this afternoon, Paul, aren't they? In that a little bit of a breeze has struck up, as it often does in the afternoon here in Sharjah. This morning it was pretty oppressive. It was probably as hot as I can remember this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely getting warm now, isn't it, Margaret? Last couple of weeks, it was beautiful until then. Absolutely perfect conditions. Are still very nice in the afternoon when a breeze comes across. But yeah, wouldn't have fancied being outfielding for those 50 overs this morning.
Afghanistan had the choice, and they opted to bowl first, as that's worked away into the onside by Rahmat Shah. Very nicely done indeed. Just looking at that table, Paul, the Pepsi ICC World Cricket League Championship table. Ireland and Scotland in the box seat at the moment. Are they your favourites to be the top 2 sides at the end of proceedings? Remember, we've got 2 more rounds after this.
Yeah, Ireland, definitely, absolute shoe-in. The best team at this level. Might as well just rock up and they'll be going through, I'd have thought. Hope I haven't jinxed them now. But Scotland aren't shoe-in, so I wouldn't say. Netherlands either. UAE, try to be impartial here and say...
Appeal for LBW and he's gone. Majid Haq strikes and Rahmat Shah departs. He went back looking to work the ball on the onside. The umpire had a long think about it and in the end gave the decision in the bowler's favour. Sarika Prasad, the man getting his finger up, going back, trying to work away on the onside, hitting below the roll, and I have to say on that replay it looked absolutely plumb. He's waving his bat at the umpire, we could see on the replay there, but if there wasn't an inside edge, I think that was stone dead, Paul.
Yeah, hit middle and leg, I'd have thought. Or leg stump, I should say.
Not sure if Graham LeBroy will be watching that with some interest. The match referee, his first one-day international as a match referee, the former Sri Lanka fast bowler, just noticing the young man on debut, waving his bat, just gesturing to the umpire. That I'm sure won't necessarily go unnoticed. So, 3 wickets down now for Afghanistan, and the new batsman Samiullah Shinwari, along with Mohammad Nabi, the only 2 players to have played every single one-day international for Afghanistan so far. Shinwari, I'm a big fan of his. I saw him playing in the Bangladesh Premier League. He's a quality leg spinner, good fielder, powerful striker of the ball, and a real asset to this Afghanistan side.
Yeah, he's, as you just said, he's been a mainstay of this team for a long time, and he is a 3-dimensional cricketer. He's one of the few players probably in this Afghanistan side that you can definitely rely on in the field, because sometimes they have their off days like they did this morning. His leg spin's very decent. 50 over, well, in 2020 situation, he's very canny. And then his batting, he's batting strong, but I wonder if Gordon Drummond will bring back one of his quicks for an over or two against him, because the other night he got himself in a bit of a mess a couple of times against the short ball. Whether that's an option they might want to pursue, we'll wait and see.
Shinwari averages just a shade under 27 with the bat in one-day internationals, 250s. Thinks about getting off the mark and decides against it, and that's probably a sensible option too. Good bit of fielding there inside the circle. That was picked up by Richie Berrington there in that short mid-wicket position. He's a real live wire in the field, keep an eye out for him. So Majid Haq strikes. Well bowled him in his second over. And Scotland, well, they continue to take wickets, and that's what they have to do, defending just that 199 for 8. 59 for 3, Afghanistan now. Whereas Mangle, he's been there since the start of the innings, 25 not out. And the batsmen who've been dismissed so far, Mohammad Shahzad, after a quick fire 90 from 11 balls. Asghar Staniskai out for 7, and now Ramat Shah, the last man to be dismissed. Gordon Drummond then, getting ready to start his second over. Just need a partnership here, Afghanistan, don't they? They just need to just play sensibly for 10 overs or so, just avoid any unnecessary risks.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that certainly these two and the next guy, if Mohammad Nabi comes to the wicket next as the captain, they're three guys who played enough of the game and are savvy enough to work that out, that it is reliant on them to take them to the winning line from here.
It's going to be very interesting if and when Nabi gets to the crease, how he actually looks to play, because we know Mohammad Nabi, when he wasn't captain, knew how to play only one way, and that was to hit the ball for 6 as often as possible.
Yeah, you were saying before about a lot of the cricket, this certainly that Afghanistan play is just block or bash it for 6, and I remember watching Nabi save the game, batting out for a draw in a 4-day game against UAE here, and he played really, really well. He faced well over 100 plenty deliveries. Just saved the game for him. Obviously, dot ball after dot ball after dot ball, and then all his scoring shots were 6s. Basically, he hit one. This is batting out on the last day of the game, just because he couldn't help himself. He hit one over the fence there into the road on the leg side there, and he hit probably the biggest 6 I've seen straight up here. This is on the 4th day, blocking out for a draw through the gangway here at the top of the second tier of the main stand.
That's hit over mid-on. That's a very effective shot indeed. It's gone for 4. Shinwari gets underway with the boundary. Good cricket. Mid-on was up in the circle. Well, we're talking about that aggressive approach, and there you are. Look at the amount of bottom hand he got into that one, working the ball into that onside, clearing mid-on comfortably, and this outfield here at Sharjah, a very quick one. But it is going to be a very interesting situation as and when we see Nabi come into bat, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I think Samuel there, that's basically the way that these guys should be playing this innings, approaching this chase. He had the fielder up at mid-on there, so he chipped over, got 4 runs. Now if he can get in line with this ball and just knock it down here for 1, that's 5 off the over. You're well ahead of the rate. There we are.
Paul Radley just auditioning for his role as Afghanistan High Performance Director. The end of the over from Gordon Drummond, and a very well played effort that from Samuel Shinwari. He's He's on 5 now, as Mangle on 6. 65 for 3. There's confirmation of the fact. This partnership very much in its infancy. Just 14 overs gone, so comfortable progress as far as Afghanistan are concerned towards that 200, but for the fact that they've lost those 3 wickets. And it comes back to what we were saying a little earlier. Paul Radley of the national newspaper here in the UAE with me in the commentary position. It just needs a little bit of stability from these two. Just need to consolidate for 10 overs.
This is a point that Kabir Khan has been trying to get across to his players as the coach of the team. That they have got a lot of very talented stroke makers who could probably chase 200 if they all succeeded. They could chase 200 in about 25 overs if they all came off. But they don't need to. The safer option is to have some sensible players from this point onwards. Somebody like Nawaz anchoring the innings. They need those guys to start shouldering that responsibility, and they have. It's not like the first time they've done it. They know how to play this game.
It really is remarkable the way they've picked the game up so quickly, isn't it?
Oh, it's an absolutely stunning story, and the amount of cricketers that, by all accounts, the amount of people over there that are wanting to play the game now as a result of this brilliant team that they've had for the last 10 years. It's just a wonderful story, really.
It's difficult to think of a similar story in any other sport.
Yeah, probably one of the best fairy tales in sport. I mean, that sounds a bit dramatic, but in world sport in the past decade, there can't have been too many stories like this.
You can think of stories in domestic sport, maybe. Think of back in England, a team like Wimbledon, for example, going through the divisions. Even Swansea City did that 30 years ago. But in terms of international sport, against the very best teams.
Yeah, and to have a story like that come out of the London Borough of Merton is sort of dramatic to an extent. But these lads have, they learned their cricket in refugee camps. Took it back to Afghanistan with them when they went back across the border.
Yes, they've got a stadium now in Kabul as well. It's just a tragedy that they can't play home matches, that the situation there doesn't allow them to do so. They're making the best of it though at the moment with their players who, in effect, some of them are actually full-time professionals now. Mohammed Nabi, saw him in the Bangladesh Premier League, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. Shenwari was there as well. That's cut away by Mangle, and that's 4. Majid Haq just changing the line, bowling round the wicket. He'd opted then not to have any cover on the offside. He simply couldn't afford to bowl short and wide. That's exactly what he did. And Mangle took full advantage. He really is looking very good indeed, cutting that ball away, finding the gap. He's on to 31, and at the end of that over, Afghanistan 72 for 3. 15 overs have gone. Samiullah Shenwari at the other end on 7, and another 128 required for victory from the remaining 35 overs. It is a remarkable story, Paul, the story of Afghanistan. Do you see it continuing to develop?
Well, yeah, you just wonder what the next chapter of the story is going to be. They've been trying to spread the game in a more organic, the sort of more usual development pathways they've been trying to instill over there, because there'd be no way you could manufacture a position where cricket could be learnt in the way that this team learnt it. So they've got trying to install, as you were talking to the guy before, trying to set up the programs that will bring the children through, and try and bring rounded cricketers through. This side have been reliant on extremely talented ball strikers who have been totally fearless in the way they played their cricket, and it's got them to this point. That's brilliant. Now they need to try and, or this is what they're aiming to do, is try and have players who can fill a variety of different roles rather than just having a load of hitters and a load of fast bowlers and some clever spinners.
Yes, it's a difficult one, of course, because they can't play any cricket at home, international cricket, so it's difficult for people to get role models, young players. So I guess the fact that the ICC has opted to show matches like this online,
absolutely right,
and given the opportunity for people to see the Afghanistan team in the flesh, if you like, albeit via the internet, that really is a valuable thing as well.
Yeah, I think having the chance for aspiring Afghan cricketers or Afghan sportsmen to see these guys on the television is a massive thing, because you learn from watching.
You made the point, I noticed, in one of your articles in the National a day or so ago, about the fact that even though they've played such a vast amount of cricket, the Afghanis, until they actually got to the World 2020 in 2010, they'd never actually appeared on live television before.
Yeah, I think at the qualifying tournament for that, a radio station came across and reported live on the matches, and they themselves were still trying to learn the terminology and trying to work out how to explain this game to everybody back at home. And then within months of that, they had gone to the World Cup, and probably the penny started to drop pretty quick, I'd have thought.
Well, they've shown themselves to be pretty quick learners, you have to say that. And all power to them. But one thing I'm sure, Paul, it's a good quick single, well taken by Shinwari. One thing I'm sure is they'd be happy to lose that Cinderella tag. I'm sure they don't want to be regarded as the jolly story of world cricket. They actually want to be considered on their merits.
Yeah, but a lot of that jolly story was founded on the fact that they were highly successful at it. It's not like anyone was sort of patronising them or damning them with the fact that, oh look, haven't you done well? They had their results to show for the fact that they were a proper cricket team, not just like you say, a Cinderella story. And now the second chapter of it is to probably won't be as glamorous a story, but it'll, for the spread of the game and to establish the game there. That is the next chapter.
It's going to be Majid Haq who's going to continue from the Sharjah club end. Iqbal has been going through some fairly extensive warm-up exercises at short third man over the last couple of overs. The leg spinner, I'm sure we're going to see him in action shortly. Shinwari milks that ball away into the onside past Berrington for a single. Takes the score up to 76 for 3. Shinwari now into double figures. He's on 10. Naura's the former captain on 32. And in all fairness to him, he doesn't seem to have missed a beat, because there might be occasions in the past where players have relinquished the captaincy and he's cut that ball away again, picked up a single, or been relieved of the captaincy, should we say, as was the case in this instance. And I guess it might be quite conceivable to be a little bit bitter, a little bit disappointed, a little bit of a sulker in the dressing room, but I've seen no evidence of that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Just judging from the body language between them all, just the way he's played this innings, actually. He just looks like he's had a weight lifted off his shoulders, and he can bat how he wants to bat. He can bat for the team without having to worry about the team.
All credit to Nabi and Kabir Khan, the coach, as well, for the way they've made him clearly feel a part of the side despite relinquishing the captaincy, because we've still seen him at mid-on, having a word with the bowlers, putting in his sixpence worth. He's obviously still being made to feel a very valued member of this side.
Yeah, definitely. I think Nabi was, for 2 years, he was his understudy anyway, so they probably got quite a close relationship. And Nabi is one of the better fielders in their team. So, you'll often find him in positions like cover point, when the slog overs are on at the end of an innings, he might be out at long on or cow corner or deep backward square, where it's difficult to captain from. So to have Naraz there to do that job for him and to keep the bowlers in line and to make sure nobody's drifting in the field is ideal, really.
Absolutely. And that brings us drinks. So we've reached an hour and 10 minutes into this afternoon session, and 17 overs have gone. 79 for 3 Afghanistan. Nowruz Mangle on 33, Samiullah Shenwari on 12. The batsmen out so far are Mohammad Shahzad, caught down the leg side by Murphy off Wardlaw for 19. Asghar Staniskai caught by Matt Machin off Ian Wardlaw out a deep square leg for 7. And Ramat Shah on debut, LBW to Majid Haq for 3. This after Scotland made 199 for 8. Richie Berrington making 51. 4 wickets to Gulbuddin Naib, 4 for 31. 2 wickets apiece to Hamid Hassan and Dawlat Zadran. Thank you very much to Paul Radley from the national newspaper here in the UAE for his expert comments. Real great insight there into cricket in this part of the world. Very few people see as much cricket as Paul. Don't forget, you can tweet us using the hashtag CWC15. Whatever you send us, if it's readable, we'll share it with our audience throughout the world. So that's the end of the drinks break. 79 for 3. Chasing 200 for victory. Here's the scorecard. That's where we are. 3 wickets, 2 of them to Ian Wardlaw on his one-day international debut. Majid Haq, the off-spinner, picking up the 3rd wicket to go, removing another debutant, Ramat Shah, plum LBW. Ball driven down towards long on. New bowler is Matt Machin, bowling his flat off-spin round the wicket. No prizes for guessing what he's looking to do here. Just push the ball through, strict the batsman, bowling with 5 fielders on the onside. Three of them on the boundary, deep backward square leg, deep wide mid wicket and long on. Looking to give the batsman no width at all. That one driven down towards long off. Kurtzer fielding down there on the boundary. It's a reminder of the hashtag for Twitter. Let us know your thoughts. Again, the ball worked away there on the onside by Mangle. Comfortable stuff, this from him. Machin now deciding to go over the wicket. Very nicely done by Mangle. Punch down towards long on. Callum McLeod down there on the boundary. Flatter, pushed down towards straightish mid-wicket. Fielded there by Richie Berrington. The end, pretty innocuous over that first one from Matt Machin. 5 runs from it, and it's 84-4-3 Afghanistan. They're chasing 200 for victory. Naraz Mangle on 36, Samiullah Shinwari on 14. This partnership now worth 25. Mentioned during that last over, the Twitter hashtag, CWC15. Getting a little bit of feedback coming in. Stephen Shorten, Scotland need a go-to man, he says. Well, they certainly could do with a wicket. Margin Hack has picked up the latest one to go down. Third in this innings, but they could do with another wicket now, that's for sure. Margin Hack continuing then from the Sharjah club end. Tossed up and on driven by Naraz Mangle. He really is looking extremely comfortable out there, and that has to be a worry as far as Scotland is concerned. He's just happy to knock the ball around, easy as you like. He's looking in no real difficulty whatsoever. 47 balls now for his 37, 3 boundaries. Very comfortable. Short, slashed away by Shinwari. And out there on the deep cover boundary is Kyle Kurtzer. Just ticking the board along nicely at the moment, these two. As we mentioned earlier, no need for any undue risks chasing only 200. Mangle is back and gets Kurtzer into action again. Scotland was actually Afghanistan's first ever one-day international. It was in Benoni just after they achieved one-day international status in that World Cup qualifying event in 2009. Afghanistan won that game head-to-head in one-day internationals. They're actually 2 apiece. There from Drummond in very quickly at cover, cutting off the possibility of a single. And the end of an over. There's 3 runs conceded from that over from Majid Haq. 19 overs gone, 87 for 3, 200 is the target. Is confirmation of that fact. Samuel Shinwari and now Mangle going along very nicely indeed. Scotland need a wicket. Matt Machin going to continue from this pavilion end. Back goes Mangle, punches it down the ground for another single. He can't state too highly how well he's playing here. Now there's Mangle. Just looks calmness personified out there at the moment. This field inside the circle, and the batsman able to trot through for a comfortable one. Richie Berrington. Not often you see him make an error. Mangle actually made 32 in that first one-day international between these sides in Benoni in 2009. 2 half-centuries in ODIs against Canada and the Netherlands. Looks well on course to make it number 3 here today as he punches that one down to long on. Callum MacLeod fields. It was one-day internationals that Afghanistan and Scotland have played against each other. That first one in Benoni in April 2009. It was actually the 5th place playoff for the ICC World Cup qualifiers. Machin back round the wicket and easily manipulated into the onside by Shinwari. Machin through the over pretty quickly. 4 runs off it, 4 comfortable runs milked by the Afghanistan batsmen, and that's all they need. The required rate is 3.6 runs per over. The total now up to 91 for 3. Shinwari 17. Nowra's on 40. 20 overs gone. So another 109 required for victory, with 30 overs in hand. Back at Benoni in 2009, Afghanistan got 295 for 8. Nabi made 58, coming in at number 3. And there was 52 to Shinwari. Scotland in reply, 206 all out. Was with a last wicket stand of 63 between Gordon Drummond and John Blaine. Otherwise it would have been an even more crushing defeat. Scotland got their revenge in the ICC World Cricket League Division 1 match in Rotterdam in 2010 when they won by 2 wickets. A low scoring contest. Afghanistan 141 all out, Scotland 2 for 8. Gowdy not playing today, hit the winning runs. Fraser Watts, another man not playing, well he's been left out of the squad now. 46 he made, he was man of the match. Worked away into the onside by Mangle. Another comfortable single. This is good cricket from him. Somehow Scotland have got to try and put some pressure on him. They've got those 5 men in the circle at the moment. Perhaps there's got to be a way that they can look to get a 6th fielder in there, just to make these 2 batsmen do something different. That's good work from Berrington at straight mid-wicket, diving onto the mat that's protecting the pitch that's probably going to be used for a 4-day match in a week or so's time. ICC Intercontinental Cup here. It's beautifully bowled by Majid Haq. giving it a little bit of extra air. Drummond and short cover, tidying up. Pushed through a bit quicker and punched off the back foot by Shinwari through extra cover. That'll go for 4. Terrifically timed shot. Frustrating end to the over for Majid Haq and for Scotland. And that takes the total to 97 for 3. He's rocking back and punching the ball. Gordon Drummond, an extra cover, diving to his right. He couldn't get across. And the outfield very fast indeed here at Sharjah Cricket Ground Stadium. It's populated by an increasing number of Afghanistan fans, enjoying themselves here this afternoon and enjoying their side being in the ascendancy at the moment. 97 for 3. Be a bowling change from the pavilion end. It's Monib Iqbal, the leg spinner, who's going to come into the attack. Had his 27th birthday recently on February the 28th in his 11th one-day international. And here's an interesting statistic for you. He's got 4 one-day international wickets. All of them have come against Afghanistan. 2 of them in that match in Benoni and 2 in the match in Rotterdam. So, from a positive point of view, from a Scotland point of view, this is the team he likes bowling against. Let's see what he can do here now. He batted very intelligently earlier. 26 not out he made, 4 and a 6. Lovely 6 that was in the last over of Hamid Hassan. In he comes now, tosses this one up, worked away into the onside. There's a huge gap there from square leg all the way back to the bowler. There's no one else inside the circle. In fact, Gordon Drummond is having a chat with his bowler and making sure he's happy with that gap. He's bowling to a 5-4 offside field. His field is short third man, point, deep cover, extra cover and long off on the offside, and on the onside, long on, deep mid-wicket, backward square leg and short fine leg. Tosses this up and gets some turn. Well bowled. We saw Rehmat Shah, the leg spinner, operating from this end, the pavilion end, also get some turn. That will be encouraging for Monib Iqbal. Shinwari goes back to this next delivery and punches it to long on. Callum MacLeod fields. Those 2 other one-day internationals that Scotland and Afghanistan played, incidentally. There's one in air in August 2010, which Afghanistan won by 9 wickets with Karim Sadiq not playing here. He played in the 2020 a couple of days ago. And Mohammed Shahzad both making hundreds as they chased down Scotland's 224 for 9. Following days, Scotland got their revenge as Afghanistan's 100 comes up. 100 for 3 in the 22nd over. Afghanistan supporters know that their side now are halfway towards their victory target. Just to finish off what I was saying about the head-to-heads, that last one-day international between these 2 players before today, 17th of August 2010 in air, Afghanistan bowled out for 120, including 46 to Shinwari, Scotland knocking those off in 33.5 overs for the loss of 4 wickets. Fraser Watts, 55 not out, Richie Berrington made 33. It's good cricket, Shinwari dropping that ball away into the onside. Drummond had moved himself from square leg into a mid-wicket position. Shenwari very cleverly just knocked that ball into the area where the fielder was previously. Great shot, Mangle. There's no fielder out there. Sweeps and sweeps well. 4 runs. The end of Muneeb Iqbal's over, and I think he'll probably have to think about his field from here on in, because the batsmen are making hay against him on that onside. Plenty of gaps. If not think about his field, and perhaps the line he's bowling. So 105 for 3, 95 runs required for victory by Afghanistan. 7 wickets in hand, all the time in the world, 28 overs. And this partnership now worth 46 between Samiullah Shenwari on 24 and Naraz Mangle on 47. Shenwari on strike to Majid Haq. Majid Haq starting his 7th over, 1 for 27 so far. He's bowled very tidily, mixed his pace up very nicely. Pushed up to mid-off, comfortable single. He was challenged early on, Majid Haq. Mangle trying to manipulate him around, playing a couple of paddle sweeps. Uses his feet, drives back to the bowler. The tweets continue to fly in. Hashtag CWC15. Mohsin Amin. Afghans want every match of Afghanistan to be televised live. Your cooperation is needed, ICC. It's a bit of an ask, that one, I think. We're making progress with this match being streamed live from wherever you are in the world. There is that hashtag CWC15. Let us know what you think. Thoughts on the match, on the Pepsi ICC World Cricket League Championship even. Give us your thoughts and we'll read the best of them out here during commentary. Tossed up and driven through the offside. That'll go for 4 and it's the 50 partnership. Beautiful shot from Samiullah Shenwari. 4 runs to him. Full in length. Punching the ball away through extra cover. No cover out there for Majid Haq. And at the end of the over, 111 for 3 Afghanistan. They're moving along very comfortably now. They were certainly in slightly stormy waters when they were 59 for 3, when Remat Shah departed LBW to Majid Haq for 3. Since then, these two have played a very calming hand. Been together just over 10 overs for this partnership of 52. Haven't looked to do anything extravagant, just put away the bad ball when it's come along, work the ball around for singles. That will certainly please Kabir Khan. We were talking with Paul Radley of the national newspaper here in the UAE a little bit earlier about the need to move away from the block or bash mentality. These two players giving a perfect example of what that's all about. Iqbal going to start his 2nd over, and he has indeed made some changes to the field, particularly on the leg side. And one of those changes almost came to fruition, but in the end, no luck for him. And that looked as though it went all the way to 6 to me. And it brings up Nawraz Mangle's half-century. Fine innings. Just checking with the fielder down there. He's not sure, he says. It's Kyle Kurtzer. Just waiting for that signal. It's a bad ball, a short ball. And to my eyes, at least, it looked as though it went for 6. Just waiting for confirmation from the officials. Whether it was 4 or 6, it brings up Nawraz Mangle's half-century. He gets a well-deserved drink. While we wait for confirmation about whether that was 4 or 6. And for Nawraz Mangle, an excellent effort. Only his third 50 in one-day international cricket. His other half-centuries, 70 not out against Canada in The Hague at the start of that ICC World Cricket League Division 1 tournament in the Netherlands, beginning of July 2010. And he made 67 not out against the Netherlands in that same tournament, also in July of that year. Since then, hasn't reached the half-century. He has now. So a long time between drinks for him, but he's got that half-century now, and he'll be pretty pleased about that, I'm sure. It's been confirmed as a 6. So Nawraz with that 6 moving to 54. Four fours and a 6, his half-century, 59 balls. Partnership now worth 58. 117 for 3 Afghanistan, and they are moving, it would appear, inexorably towards victory. Short again from Munib Iqbal, fielded mid-on by Callum McLeod. Field on the leg side now, it's changed again. It's a short, fine leg. Mid-on, McLeod, you just saw him field that one. Also got the deep mid-wicket. Kyle Kurtzer almost held the catch there, and a deep backward square leg. And that looks as though it's going to be 6 more. Indeed it is. Perfectly bisecting the two fielders out there on the boundary, but even if they'd been under that one, I don't think they'd have caught it. So a second 6 in the over for Nawraz, and he's really opening his shoulders now and enjoying himself. Bang. Taking advantage of the wide open spaces, and the Afghan crowd really starting to enjoy themselves here. They can scent a victory for their side. It's a much needed victory too. They have to win, really and truly, to stay in contention. It's a working day here in the UAE, but they've made their way to the ground, and they've got plenty to smile about at the moment. That's nicely bowled, tossed up, despite being hit for a couple of 6s, still not frightened to give the ball air. Recovery at the back end of this over from Munib Iqbal. Still an expensive one though, it cost 13 runs. And it's 124 for 3 Afghanistan. Not quite at the halfway stage of the innings in terms of overs bowled. And as we suspected, this total being made to look a little bit inadequate at the moment, the Scotland total of 199 for 8. They had the perfect launching pad when they were batting. 133 for 2, in fact, when Matt Machin and Richie Berrington were together. But they were separated after the power play was taken. Since then, it's been hard work for Scotland. 199 for 8. So another 76 runs required for victory. And as you might expect, Gordon Drummond having to ring the changes. He needs a wicket, and he's brought back Ian Wardlaw to see if he can provide him with one. Wardlaw with 2 wickets so far, 2 for 26. Short, and Mangle see it like a football now, pulling that one down towards long leg. And I'm delighted to say that we've been joined by Eddie Fitzgibbon, the Development Events Manager for the ICC. One of his tasks is to pull together matches and events like this. Oh, that's a good ball from Wardlaw. It's giving Shinwari a little bit of a hurry up. A suspicion that among the Scots that the Afghans might be a little bit susceptible to the short ball. Wardlaw just coming back for this second spell, needing to bend his back and doing exactly that. Short again. Shinwari happy to go for the hook shot. Misses. It's taken by Murphy, but Eddie Fitzgibbon, the ICC Development Events Manager, with us. And Eddie, thanks very much for joining us here on our coverage. And I imagine you've been a busy boy over the last few weeks.
Yeah, have been busy. You've got a few rounds, the World Cricket League Championship round 5 coming up over the next 10 or so days. So it's been a busy time, but very exciting for us.
Because of course these aren't the only 2 sides that are in the UAE at the moment, are they?
No, that's correct. We've actually got we've had a high performance camp, which has consisted of 6 of the high performance teams, or 5 of the high performance teams here. So in addition to Scotland and Afghanistan, we've also got Kenya, Canada and Ireland also been here for the camp at the Global Cricket Academy and Sharjah Stadium. So it's been a very, very busy time, lots going on.
Not only that, of course, these 2 sides were playing 2020 internationals at the start of the week. Now a couple of one-day internationals. The ICC Intercontinental Cup with matches to be staged as well over the next week or so. So you've got a few plates that you're spinning at the moment, Eddie.
Couple of plates. There's also Brian, a couple of T20 internationals between Kenya and Canada at the Global Cricket Academy, and a possible T20 between Ireland and the UAE on the 21st.
So what's your role in pulling all those together then, Eddie?
Primarily an administrative one. I work quite heavily with Richard Doan, who's the ICC High Performance Manager, who takes care of all the high performance teams who compete in the World Cricket League Championship. And we start 3 or 4, sometimes 5 or 6 months in advance in getting the scheduling correct, getting the dates correct, getting the venues correct, making sure they are of requisite standard, and then working through various bits and pieces, making sure squads are confirmed, making sure officials are confirmed, making sure all the little bits and pieces that some people think can just do themselves, I suppose, like balls are there and light meters and stump stickers and all these type of things that sometimes can get left to the last minute. But look, the World Cricket League Championship has been evolving since it first started in 2011, and I mean, this is one of the last bastions, I suppose, of this version of it is the online streaming, and I'm proud to say that it's been absolutely fantastic today.
Back into the attack for a second spell. Safian Sharif bowling once again from this pavilion end. His opening spell, a little bit disappointing if truth be told. 5 overs, 1 maiden, none for 23. He's got pace, there's no question about that. But he certainly hasn't found this surface to his liking. Cut away. There's a fielder out there on the boundary. And he's not going to get around Matt Machin. 4 more. Shinwari taking full advantage of a ball that was short and wide. He really has struggled today. Sharif hasn't been able to bowl a consistent line or a consistent length. And even with that sweeper out there, still punished by Shenwari. He moves on to 34, and the total up to 130 for 3. That's nicely done. Gets the boundary and then steers the short ball down to third man for a comfortable single. Of course, teams here have got 2 bites of the cherry, haven't they? They've got the option to finish in the top 2 if they can of this Pepsi ICC World Cricket League Championship, and if they don't manage that, they've got the opportunity of the qualifier, which takes place next year in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's correct. So 2 bites of the cherry. Obviously, teams after playing, although would have played 14 matches by the end of the World Cricket League Championship, they'll prefer to go directly to the World Cup. That goes without saying. But
short and hooked away again. The Scotland Pacers happy to test out the middle of the pitch.
But obviously, the high performance program teams have earned this right to play in this the World Cricket League Championship over a sustained period. They've performed on a very high level. So I think the ability to have that second chance is well earned from that perspective. We've also got so the bottom 6 from the World Cricket League Championship will join Hong Kong and Papua New Guinea in the Cricket World Cup qualifier, in addition to the top 2 from World Cricket League Division 3, which is happening towards the end of April, early May in Bermuda. So in line with one of my other roles is I also take care of all the other World Cricket League events that take place all around the world in all sorts of weird and wonderful places. It's a very, very interesting job, very challenging job at times, but it's absolutely fantastic to be able to hold cricket tournaments under the ICC's banner in some fantastic places and see the love of the game out there in all sorts of the different countries.
Carved away out to deep cover. Machin's out there. With Bermuda, of course, staging that event. Seem all that long ago that they were actually a World Cup team themselves. In 2007, of course, they took part in the World Cup. They've slipped off the radar a little bit, if you'll forgive the Bermuda Triangle joke there. But this is their opportunity to get back on the big stage. 134 for 3. Samuel Shenwari on 36. Now Mangle on 64. This partnership now is worth 75. Remember, Afghanistan at one stage were 59 for 3, chasing 200 for victory. They lost Mohammed Shahzad for 19, Asghar Staniskai for 7, and Ramat Shah on debut for 3. 2 wickets there to Ian Wardlaw and 1 to Majid Haq. And just to remind you, if you're joining us for the first time, Scotland earlier made 199 for 8 when they were put into bat. As Wardlaw continues from the Sharjah club end. Ball's worked away backward of square on the onside by Naraz Mangle. He picks up 2. Scotland top score for them, Richie Berrington with 51, and there were 4 wickets for the medium pace of Gulbadine name. So you do all that travelling, Eddie. Apart from Bermuda, where have you been recently, and where will you go after Bermuda?
Well, yeah, we have World Cricket League Division 7 is the next one in about a month's time, I think, to the day.
Pulled away by Mangle, out towards deep square leg. Machin's there, 1 bounce.
And that'll be in Botswana, which also they held World Cricket League Division 7 2011. So we've got 2 teams coming up from there, from Division 8, which was played in Samoa, which I was at the end of last year. Ghana and Vanuatu, they're 2 teams to watch out for. They're fantastic athletes and got some really quick bowlers, and they're very, very impressive. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those 2 teams got up to 6. And following that, Bermuda. So a busy time the next couple of weeks.
So you tipping one of those 2 sides maybe to do an Afghanistan and race through the World Cricket League pyramid and make it all the way to the top tier?
Well, that's possible. I certainly think Vanuatu and Ghana would think so. Obviously, Afghanistan have some great support from places like Pakistan. But now Australia, for example, Cricket Australia is extending some helping hands to Papua New Guinea and Vanuatu cricket, inviting some kids to come and play in some of their regional competitions. So, look, maybe not the short term, but certainly long term.
Pulled away by Shenwari, and great work by Machin. Out on the deep mid-wicket boundary, diving full length. And saving a certain boundary. And instead, Just 2 runs for Shenwari. Another short ball. Shenwari seeing this really early, hitting it well in front of square. And isn't that terrific work by Matt Machin? Good camera work there as well.
There's been quite a lot of old-fashioned shin music over the last few overs, and they're getting quite aggressive, the Scots. I know it's starting to slip away from them slightly, but if there's anything the Scots can do, they'll dig in and really go to the end. So I think they're trying to be quite aggressive here. Again,
another short ball. Away to fine leg on this occasion. Sharif, fielder. Eddie, having done all the travelling around that you've done, seen the World Cricket League to the fullest extent, you've probably seen more World Cricket League matches than anyone else in the world, I would imagine. Is it a success? It's been going for a few years now. Is it working?
I think undoubtedly. I mean, we've touched upon Afghanistan on a number of times, and that's the main case in point for us, really. I mean, when our teams, when I say our, I mean the associate members, compete on a regular basis against the full members and do well, as England have done, as the Netherlands have done, and Afghanistan has shown in a few matches, that's where we, as a department and from the development world of cricket, really show that we're up for a fight and the investment is worth it, I think. And the high performance program has really shown that in the last 3 to 4 years that it definitely is worth it. From places that I've been to, just the love of cricket and the talent levels that are shown in some of the kids. I mean, in Samoa in Division 8, the player of the tournament there was a 17-year-old native Vanuatu kid from the name of Nala Nipiko. Now he is really, really one to watch, and there's already talk that he's going to be fast-tracked into the Australian system and the Big Bash League there possibly. I know it's a long way to go, but these are the type of opportunities that never would have been dreamed about 10 years ago. And I think the investment by Pepsi and what we do as a department has gone a long way, both at the bottom of the rung and also the top up here.
Another short ball by Sharif starts a new over. 140 for 3, 60 required for victory by Afghanistan, and you would think they're well on track for that at the moment. Nawraz Mangle on 67, Samuel Shinwari on 39. And of course, this is a new concept as well, isn't it? The Pepsi ICC World Cricket League Championship, these top 8 sides. Full toss there, steered down towards third man, attempted slower ball, I fancy. Single to Shenwari, no harm done. This is a new concept, but I guess that there's the potential it could only be a one-off, because for the next World Cup in 2019, I think that's down to 10 teams, isn't it? At least at this stage.
Yeah, I believe that's the case. There's obviously still quite a lot of water to go under the bridge until it's determined exactly what type of qualification system there's going to be, and that's obviously at an ICC level. But we're hopeful that something like the World Cricket League Championship, being shown again live around the world today via streaming, and what it's given to teams like Afghanistan and Scotland, the high performance program, that there's a lot of value in this type of thing, and that it will continue in one form or another.
Let's keep our fingers crossed. And just a reminder, if you want to join in the debate on Twitter, you can do so. Hashtag CWC15. Why not let us know what you think? That's a rear loose shot from Mangle, looking to slash that ball away on the offside, plays and misses. Just had another tweet in from Lutfala Stanikzai. He's in the UK. He says, very good initiative by the ICC to broadcast this match. Thank you very much. Any other nice tweets? We'll happily read those out as well. Hey, we'll even read out the not so nice tweets if you want to send any of those. That's not an invitation, of course. Mangle on the cusp of what would be his highest one-day international score. Previous best of 70 not out against Canada in The Hague on 1st of July 2010. He's currently level with his second best score at this level. 67 not out, that was against the Netherlands, again in the Hague, again in the ICC World Cricket League Division 1 tournament. Took place July July 2010. Ireland won that one, beat Scotland in the final. Mangle goes back and punches this down towards long on. Of course, we've got other matches to come, haven't we, in the penultimate round and the final round of ICC World Cricket League Championship that we're going to be streaming live, Eddie, so plenty to look forward to over the next few months.
Yeah, absolutely, and the excitement's only going to build from here. I think we've worked through the league table at the moment, and Ireland's obviously looking strong, and Scotland, Netherlands, UAE, and Afghanistan, depending upon the result here, are also in the thick of the action. So, look, the next two rounds after this one are going to be very exciting. We have the European leg, I suppose we would call it. Netherlands are playing Ireland in Netherlands, and also Scotland are playing Kenya. So both ODIs there. Well, there'll be 4 ODIs over the course of I think it's over about a week's period then too.
Absolutely, and then round 7, Ireland against Scotland. That was announced that it was going to take place in Stormont at the back end of the summer that's coming up. Afghanistan against Kenya, that'll be back here in the UAE, I guess. Canada against the Netherlands, the UAE against Namibia. Many of these sides still in the shake-up for those top 2 places. And the short ball from Wardlaw. They continue to persist with this tactic. They need to make something happen though, and at least they're trying something at the moment.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of absolute cracking matches there. The European derbies, I suppose, are going to be, not just the old-fashioned grudge matches, but also they're going to go a long way to deciding who directly qualifies for the World Cup. So stay tuned for that for sure.
Beautiful technique from Mangle, left elbow high, punching up towards long on. He really is seeing it beautifully at the moment, the former captain. It's lovely to see that he's remained not only a part of the side, but remained an important part of this side, because again, Eddie, with all the cricket that you've seen around the world in World Cricket League, he's been an absolutely pivotal figure in Afghanistan's rise, hasn't he? Uses his feet and clobbers this one all the way down the ground for 6, into the side screen, and what a way to bring up your highest score in one-day international cricket. Goes past his previous best of 70. Well, I was saying he's been a pivotal figure for Afghanistan, and he continues to be so, particularly today. What a fantastic stroke from Nawraz Mangle. No fear at all, and that takes him to 74.
Well, I couldn't have done a better lead into that shot myself, Brian. Well done there. He's been absolutely fantastic since Afghanistan started, and he's really proved his worth. And maybe the captaincy, taking that off him, has let him get a bit more free flowing and enjoy his cricket a bit more. I know that's happened in Australian cricket, for example, when Ricky Ponting relinquished the captaincy. Sachin Tendulkar, so maybe Nawraz has done the same thing, and he's back to enjoying his cricket rather than dealing with the captaincy that can be a strain at times.
Absolutely, as we were saying a little bit earlier when Paul Radley of the National Newspaper was on commentary with me. Must be a very taxing situation, never playing your home games at home. Wardlaw again testing the middle of the pitch. This one's outside the off stump. Shenwari allows it to go through to the keeper. The end of the over. 149 for 3. This partnership now worth 90, with Samiullah Shenwari on 40. Nawraz Mangle on 75. 21 overs remaining, and just 51 runs required for victory by Afghanistan. A victory which would bring them back into contention, I guess, in terms of the top 2 places in the Pepsi World Cricket League Championship points table. Ireland at the top of that table. Let's have a look at where we are in this Afghanistan innings. They were 59 for 3. Mohammad Shahzad, a little cameo from him, 4 fours in 19 before he was dismissed. And Stanitsky out hooking to deep square leg. Wardlaw taking 2 wickets on his one-day international debut, and Remat Shah on debut himself, LBW to Majid Haq for 3. At that stage it was 59 for 3, but Shenwari, who's played every one of Afghanistan's one-day internationals to this point in time, along with the former captain Nawraz Mangle, they've been calmness personified, and at this stage, you would be hard-pressed to go against the possibility of an Afghanistan victory here. They didn't feel very well today, if truth be told, but these two certainly making up for that with the bat. Change of bowling then, and straight away the new bowler, Preston Mompson, is greeted in the most emphatic fashion, and Naraz Mangle, well, he's enjoying himself now, isn't he? That's his second six in successive overs, brings up the 150 as well, 155 for three. Welcome to the bowling crease, Preston Mompson.
Well, I just think this kind of innings from both of these two just goes to show the type of maturity that's now come into the Afghan team. You know, we've talked before ad nauseum almost at, you know, how explosive they can be with guys like Shahzad up the top, but they were in a bit of trouble early. But they have played a lot of cricket. They played a lot of cricket domestically. 50 over. They play a lot of World Cricket League Championship matches. They get a lot of cricket under their belt, so they do understand how to build an innings, how to save an innings, and how to go hard when they need to. So, look, we keep talking about how far they've come from a league perspective, but just their cricketing maturity and cricketing brains, they've just come on in leaps and bounds over the last couple of years, and that's why they're held up as one of the really good teams to watch out for in associate cricket.
Absolutely terrific stuff there. And the question now is whether Naraz Mangle can actually reach three figures. He's 81 not out, so he needs 19 runs to reach his first one-day international 100. Another 45 runs required for victory. As I mentioned earlier, he's seeing it like an absolute football at the moment. Preston Mompson, what can he do with his second delivery? He can bowl fast, flat and wide outside the off stump, and that is signalled wide by umpire Paligurage from Sri Lanka. This incidentally is his first one-day international outside of Sri Lanka. Well fielded by Mompson. Paligurage, Muchira Paligurage, standing in his fifth one-day international. Three of his previous ones at Hambantota, down in the south of Sri Lanka, and the other one at Palakkele, which is near Kandy. Mangle goes for another six. He really is opening his shoulders now. Perhaps he's got a train to catch or a flight to catch, I'm not sure. He's playing again in a couple of days, and he fancies a sit down by the seam of it. Wonderful shot. This time going over wide, long on, getting his front leg out the way. And what about that for flamboyance? That front leg up in the air as he clobbers it over long on for six. He moves to 87. A short ball, and it's pulled out towards deep mid-wicket for six more. 3 sixes in the over, and that takes him into the 90s. No signs of any nerves from him. Oh, this is wonderful stuff. Preston Mompson probably doesn't think so, and neither do the Scots. But this really is terrific watching as Naraz Mangle moves to 93. The partnership now sailed past 100. It's 109 these two have added. And this really is top-class entertainment from these two players. It's only the 5th century stand for Afghanistan in one-day international history. Naraz Mangle on 93. And now he goes through the offside. That'll be 4 more. You can forget chasing that. What an over. 22 runs from it off the bat, plus the wide. And we've still got another ball to come. Preston Mompson must wish the ground would open up and swallow him. This really is high-class batting, though. Slashed away and misfielded at point. I think that's Gordon Drummond there. He'll come back for 2. So 25 runs off that over, including the wide. wonderful entertainment. And Mangle now is just one run away from a century. He's 99 not out, just 26 runs required for victory. It's 174 for 3. Eddie Fitzgibbon is with me, the development events manager for the ICC. And Eddie, this is fantastic entertainment.
Well, outstanding. I mean, he took his time, didn't he, to settle in, and he had to dig in at 59 for 3. But since then, it's been good stroke making. It hasn't been any slogging. Even some of those sixes hit just then, that was he sees the ball and then he hits it. There's nothing outlandish about it, and the crowd is going absolutely bananas. And I think for Friday, which is a weekend here in the UAE, these guys here will be back, and I dare say they'll bring a few friends with them. So we can't wait for that, and I'm sure they can't either.
Yes, fingers crossed. They will bring a few friends with them. There's every possibility that it's going to be jumping the joint here. 99 then now as Mangle, just 26 more runs required for victory. Wardlaw again. And it's worked away backward of square on the onside by Shenwari. He's coming back for 2. That's terrific running. Machin coming in off the deep square leg boundary. Couldn't cut out that possibility of 2. And the other good thing for Afghanistan here, with the way they're rattling along, is this will do their net run rate no harm at all.
That's right, and often in these type of situations, in these type of tournaments, it can come down to net run rate. So even though there is 14 games over the course of the World Cricket League Championship, net run rate could decide who goes to a World Cup and who has to go back to the qualifier.
Short, and Shenwari furious with himself, trying to play that hook shot. Ireland comfortably ahead in terms of net run rate at the moment. With all the other teams not a million miles apart. This really will damage Scotland's net run rate if they go on to lose this match. Steered down towards third man, and the crowd enjoyed that because it gets Nawraz Mangle back on strike. Crowd really excited with Mangle on 99. As we mentioned a little bit earlier, 600s for Afghanistan in one-day international cricket. Mohammad Shahzad's got 3 of them. Karim Sadiq has got 2, and Nur Ali Zadran has got the other one. 2 of them have come against Scotland by Shahzad and Karim Sadiq, both of them in that 9-wicket win at Ayr in 2010. So there's another one going to be racked up against the Scots here. Mangle on strike, on 99. Short, pulled away for 4. What a 100. What a fantastic innings in his first one-day international since stepping down from the captaincy. And he reaches 3 figures for the first time in a one-day international. Nawraz Mangle, take a bow. Just 86 balls, 5 fours. That was his 6th 4, in fact. 6 sixes in total as well. And this really has been wonderful entertainment for this crowd. They've enjoyed it. It's come out of 181 for 3, and it's taken Afghanistan to the cusp of victory.
Phenomenal batting by Nawraz. You know, again, he's been around the team a lot, and for him not to have scored a century is a little bit surprising because he is a very good, technically gifted batsman. But again, Afghanistan do have a lot of talented batsmen in their ranks, so he must be absolutely delighted, and the fans are going absolutely bananas once again.
Another short ball. Tested him out today, and he's been equal to it. If there's any chat out there, all he has to do is point to the scoreboard. He's 103 not out. Just 87 balls so far that he's faced. 6 fours, 6 sixes. 7th 100 by Afghanistan in one-day international cricket. And he is the 4th player for Afghanistan to reach that mark, after Mohammad Shahzad, Karim Sadiq and Nur Ali Zadran. Just like the good quality batsman that he is, just happy to take guard again and say, okay, I'll see us through to victory. Blocks that last delivery of the over from Ian Wardlaw. The end of the over with just 19 runs required. Nawraz on 103. Shenwari on 43. This partnership is worth 122, and it's moving up the ranks of high partnerships for Afghanistan in one-day international cricket. It's now 4th on the list. Head of affairs Karim Sadiq and Mohammed Shahzad, that partnership at Ayr, when they both made hundreds, 218. Nur Ali Zadran and Mohammed Shahzad, 205 against Canada on this ground. Karim Sadiq and Javed Ahmadi, 141 against the Netherlands, again on this ground. And now these two for the 4th wicket. It's the highest 4th wicket partnership, in fact, in the history of Afghanistan one-day international cricket, beating the previous mark by Shabir Nouri. 1-4-3, and now last throw of the dice for Scotland. Richie Berrington being thrown the ball. It's capable of generating some decent pace from a reasonably short run-up. Again, testing out the middle of the pitch. And Shenwari happy to bide his time. So 19 runs required for victory. Incidentally, the highest 4th wicket partnership in this tournament thus far is between Mishra and Valsani of Kenya against the UAE at the Nairobi Gymkhana. That's 133. That was in July 2011, and 4 more to add to this pair's tally. Off the glove, I rather fancy. Takes Samiullah Shenwari to 47, and the total of 185 for 3. This partnership now 126. Scotland persisting with the short ball, Eddie.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they had some bit of success with it early on, getting one of the openers out, caught it deep square leg. But since then, they probably needed to change it up a little bit more and get a little bit full use some of the reverse swing that some of the Afghan bowlers got late in the innings. But yeah, it's been very well handled by the Afghanistan batsmen. You have to say they've scored a lot of runs behind square or just square of the wicket.
Another run backward of square. We wait to see whether that's a leg by. Indeed it is. Umpire Ali Agurage gets his leg in the air and signals it. So that takes the total now to 186 for 3. Just 14 runs required for victory. Excellent progress by Afghanistan. They're winning at an absolute canter. Only in the 32nd over, believe it or not. Clobbered down the ground by Mangle, unorthodox but mighty effective. Almost like a baseball hit in the end, getting his front leg out the way, and he wants to end this in a hurry. Fantastic strike again. No respect at all for Richie Berrington.
I think the eye is well and truly in now, and if he sees it and he likes it, I think he's going to go for it. So it could be over very shortly, or he could, perhaps get a little bit too excited and want to finish it too early. So it should be an interesting last few overs, possibly.
Short of a length, and having hit that unorthodox boundary, he's orthodoxy personified, just working the ball square of the wicket on the onside and picking up a single, getting off strike and giving Samiullah Shenwari the opportunity to get to a landmark himself. He's 47 not out, 9 runs required for victory, 3 for Shenwari to reach his half century. He scored 2 50s in one-day international cricket. 52 on debut against Scotland, the first ever one-day international for Afghanistan in 2009. His other half century against Kenya at the ICC World Cricket League Division 1 in The Hague in 2010. Happy to pat back that last ball from Berrington. So 9 to win, Mangle 108, Shenwari 47, this partnership 132, and from 59 for 3, these two have done it in absolute canter, Eddie. At that stage they looked as though they were in a few problems.
They were, and the Scots looked like they were on top, didn't they? And they did have to dig in, Afghanistan. There was some good bowling in those first few overs, but since then they just slowly got their eye in. These two guys played their way around, and the last kind of, I suppose, 6 or 7 overs, we've kind of blinked our eyes a couple of times, and all of a sudden the game's nearly over, and the partnership is at an almost record level. So not really sure how that happened. We were here and witnessed it, but it was absolutely, it's just been phenomenal striking once they had their eye in. I suppose that's cricket 101.
Certainly is. Here's the scorecard to confirm where we are in the match. 9 runs required for victory. Nawaz Mangle, a maiden one-day international 100 for him, and a superb innings to boot. Samuel Shinwari, excellent support, and these two have added 132 for the 4th wicket. Tweets continuing to come in. Hashtag CWC15. Bashir Ahmed Guak. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Apologies if I haven't. What a treat to watch Nawaz Mangle hitting a century. Set himself in steadying the innings and then increasing the Afghanistan run rate. Got it on the head there, Bashir. Tweet from Graham Campbell as well. Can we show the score? Oh, we're doing our best to show the score as often as we can. It's pretty difficult to keep up, actually, the way Afghanistan are continuing to rattle along. Mangle pushing the ball into the covers. A new over from Wardlaw. 191 for 3, 9 to win. Nawaz Mangle 108 and Shinwari 47. This will give Afghanistan a huge amount of confidence going into Friday's return match between these two sides. Eddie Fitzgibbon alongside me mentioned that match to come. It's on a Friday. That's the one day of the week off for many people in the UAE. And I still remember February 2012 when Afghanistan became the first affiliate ICC member to play a one-day international against an ICC full member. That was against Pakistan. That was on a Friday. That was here. And I can promise you people were hanging from the rafters that particular evening.
Absolutely huge, that one. Absolute delight. And still remember that. Everyone remembers that reverse sweep from Shahzad off. Who was it again?
Saeed Ajmal.
Fantastic.
I think he'd just taken 24 wickets in the 3-test series against England.
He had.
And there was Shahzad greeting him in his first over by reverse sweeping him for 6 over to the scoreboard there. Unbelievable shot.
I can tell you, I think that's Tim Anderson's favourite YouTube clip. I think he plays it a couple of times a day when he gets into the office.
Well, he must have played it a few times because I think it's had hundreds of thousands of hits, hasn't it? As Mangle drives through the offside, and this is going to be 4 more. The field now inside the circle, trying to put some belated pressure on the batsman. And as soon as he found the gap there, it was 4 all the way on this very fast outfield at Sharjah Cricket Stadium. So, just 5 runs for victory now. Nawaz Mangle moves to 112. And once again, terrific shot making from the former captain, who is absolutely relishing his move away from responsibility. Slower ball from Wardlaw and treated with the utmost respect by Mangle. The highest score, incidentally, by an Afghanistan batsman in one-day international cricket is Mohammad Shahzad. That's 118 against Canada on this ground in February 2010. And, well, if Nawaz was to end the match with a 6, and he's hit plenty of those in this innings, 6 of them by my count, that would draw him level with that total. Slower ball from Wardlaw, and they had the opportunity of a single there. I think it came off the outside edge or the boot, but that shows a little bit of team spirit there, because Mangle opted not to take the single, to leave Shinwari on strike, because Shinwari is still 3 runs short of his own half-century, and there's only 5 runs required for victory. That's a nice touch by Nawaz Mangle.
That's a nice touch, and that might be a bit of an old thing that he's clinging to from the captaincy, trying to bring everyone together and everyone to rejoice in what has been really a fantastic win, and sets Afghanistan up in the World Cricket League Championship standings quite well. Now, I think moving forward in 2 days' time, Scotland, they're going to look to bounce back, and if Scotland can win on Friday, then they're well and truly set for a good position in the World Cricket League Championship after this round. But Afghanistan can gain another win, then it really does start to get tight. So that really does become crucial, this game on Friday.
Absolutely. This is a favour to Ireland, of course, at top of the table. Scotland 2 points behind them at the moment, are heading for defeat. Because it strengthens Ireland's position at the top of affairs, and it also tightens up that race for second spot as well. And of course Ireland, later on this month, a couple of games that we're streaming here from Sharjah, Afghanistan against Ireland, and well, this win today sets those games up beautifully.
It does, and I think that's going to be a difficult challenge for Ireland. I know they're expecting a barrage of spinners from the off.
They've got George Dockrell though, who is an outstanding performer himself. I know he's relishing the prospect of being here and donning the green of Ireland. Plays county cricket for Somerset these days as well, of course. But a wonderfully talented spinner.
Paul Sterling as well, bowls some very, very handy off spin, and has been doing so in the Bangladeshi Premier League recently.
Short, pulled away by Shenwari. Has that gone all the way for 6? Or is it just short? If it's gone all the way for 6, that's the end of the match. But it's a half century for Shenwari. It's signalled 4. The scores are tied. And what a great innings from Samiullah Shenwari. His third 50 in one-day international cricket. And his second against Scotland. And that really was another brutal pull shot. They've been tested by the short ball today of Afghanistan, and these two batsmen in particular, but they really have risen to the challenge wonderfully well. 6 fours for Shenwari in that half century, and Afghanistan needing just 1 run for victory now, something that will boost their net run rate stupendously, and it will be a kick in the teeth as far as Scotland's net run rate is concerned. Scores are tied then. Shenwari looking to just drop it into the offside and take the winning single, or would have been the winning single. Matt Machin had other ideas. Well, when all said and done, this is going to be looked back on as I'm struggling. For a total of around 200. It's signalled 4. So Shenwari finishes with his 7th boundary, moves to 55. Now as Mangle finishes on 112, and their partnership 144 unbroken for the 4th wicket, and that takes them to 2nd place in the list of partnerships in this tournament, overtaking another Afghani pair, Karim Sadiq and Javed Ahmadi, who added 141 for the 1st wicket against the Netherlands in Sharjah in March of 2012. A wonderful performance by these two batsmen, an excellent performance overall by Afghanistan. There were a few question marks about their fielding today, but otherwise they've well and truly outplayed Scotland in every other department. Scotland making 199 for 8 in their 50 overs, and even if they had got up to 240, in the end that would have been woefully inadequate the way that these two batsmen have performed. Shenwari finishing 55 not out, Nawaz Mangle 112 not out, a maiden one-day international century for him, and a win for Afghanistan by 7 wickets, and that really is a thumping performance. They acknowledge the crowd here at the Sharjah Cricket Stadium. What a great partnership. 2 excellent innings, and look at the smile there from Nawaz Mangle and the way he was greeted by Mohammad Shahzad. He's got so much respect in that dressing room, Nawaz Mangle, and now he can hold his head up and say, I am a centurion in one-day international cricket. The handshakes, the tradition at the end of every international match, that's good to see. But Scotland will leave the field today knowing they've been well and truly beaten. They've been 2nd best. Eddie Fitzgibbon is with me, the development events manager for the ICC. He's pulled this fixture together, and Eddie, what a wonderful exhibition of power batting by Afghanistan to really put them back in contention for a place among the top 2 in the Pepsi ICC World Cricket League Championship, which of course will mean qualification for the World Cup in 2015.
That's right. Look, Firstly, I'm just very happy for Nauroz. I mean, as we've said, he's been around for a long time. He's been a great server for Afghanistan cricket, and perhaps his performances haven't quite matched his level of acknowledgement within the Afghan cricket team. But today he really turned it on and showed what a quality player he is. So, in regards to the tournament, yeah, that's definitely thrown it wide open. And as I said, Friday is a huge game. If Afghanistan can win that one again, it really does start to get tight up the top there for that second spot. Not that Ireland's totally out of it, but look, it's a very interesting time for this tournament. So the next 5 games that we have here in the UAE are going to be very good, and 3 of those are going to be broadcast live.
Absolutely. There's the scorecard confirming what we've seen. A wonderful exhibition of batting by Nauroz Mangle and Samiullah Shinwari. They came together at 59 for 3, with Afghanistan wobbling in pursuit of 200. And, well, what a partnership it was. In total, they added 144, and they put together that stand of 144 in just 21 overs. Fantastic stuff. 6s and 4s galore. Nauroz Mangle 8 4s and 6 6s, and Shinwari 7 4s to his credit. The bowlers, Ian Wardlaw on one-day international debut, 2 for 52. The other wicket taker, Majid Haq, the off-spinner, 1 for 33. They did their best to test out the middle of the pitch, the Scots bowlers, trying to test out the Afghanistan batsmen's ability to play that short ball. But that confirms the result for you. Afghanistan winning by 7 wickets, very much in contention now for a place in the top 2 of the Pepsi ICC World Cricket League Championship. We'll be back on Friday when these 2 sides will do battle once again, and we hope you can join us then. In the meantime, from everyone here at Sharjah Cricket Stadium, thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.